Welcome to Rauta. This time I'm gonna talk about Nordic Metal Cruise 2025, which just happened about a week ago. That is when this video is coming out. Now, as a lot of you old-timers who have been following the channel already know, I've been on these cruises for so many years, more than half a dozen times, and always interviewing some bands in question, that is, around the cruise and all. But the cruise is more than just, bands playing. I mean, just. It's basically a Finnish version to do a little bit of Las Vegas. Meaning, yes, there is gambling. Yes, there is boozing. Yes, there are a big amount of different variations of alcoholic beverages. And of course, a lot of friends. So a lot to do. And of course, you're offshore. Meaning you're spending almost 24 hours on a ship. A cruising ship between Finland and Sweden. Which is the perfect excuse to just leave your daily life behind and focus on something totally different. Now, since me talking just without any kind of a backdrop information would be super boring, I'm just going to use here this Nordic Metal Cruise 2025 website as backdrop and mention something that went on and also mention you what kind of interviews you're supposed to be waiting for in due time. Now, as you can see, this whole lineup was actually made of 5 different bands. Arcturus from Norway, and Nal Nathrak from UK, Monogam and Wormwood from Sweden, and Skildron. To be honest, I have no idea where they're from. Point aside, with that we had these Stereo Terror DJs playing some more danceable music. Not really my cup of tea, but more about that later. There was burlesque shows, pretty nice and cool. Heavy metal bar piano, making piano covers on their rock bar side, where there's also karaoke. Rabbit Cult, of which I have no idea what they were doing. Then this favorite icon of sorts of Nordic Metal Cruise, Gulli Nalle, which is basically a corpse-painted teddy bear rendering around, and a tattoo artist, and a lot of more stuff. So, of course, the focus with these given cruises are always the band, and these quintet of sorts were the main dish, give or take, for people to see. So, of course, when you go on this cruise and when you embark, it's not just about getting wasted, which is a big plus to many people, but also to see some bands, spend good time with friends, and enjoy some other shows. There were also like a hungover bingo for people to win, tickets for Numerok Festival, which is always in June, and a lot of other activities. But of course, like I said, the main thing for people to embark are, of course, these bands. Now, it was a pretty wild and interesting lineup in sense of, focus being always more or less in extreme metal. Well, Skildron wasn't exactly extreme metal with their bagpipe power metal kind of a thing, but at least it was something different. Wormwood then again offered some black metal, Monogram with their combination of, say, Viking folk black metal, and Nal Nathrak with their more industrial extreme metal, blending in grindcore black metal and so forth, and then a band of Funny Hats, Arcturus doing their avant-garde take of black metal and beyond. Now, usually I go for 2 interviews per cruise, which is more than enough to, take a lot of my time and figure out how things are done. That is not my time, but also band's time and my cameraman's time. So plenty of stuff to do. But I also kind of time consuming, taking time to organize everything and all that stuff. And then you have to figure out where to eat, what to eat, when to drink, with whom you're going to drink, etc. How do you going to see the shows and all that stuff. So it's kind of a puzzle, which you're trying to keep it together for about 22 hours and all. But it's definitely worth it. And now, like I said, I've been on these cruises, I think, for the first time in 2019 or so. And, or was it 2018 actually? Anyway. Point is, they are always been very, very nice trips. You always get to spend time with some good friends and some strangers sometimes. You get to drink nicely, you get to eat super well and all that stuff. Now, one of the things which I have encountered as, born and raised in Turku, west coast of Finland, is that since the ships leave from Turku, they have the places where you go for tax-free shopping. Not as a kid, obviously, you bought booze, but candy anyway. As an adult, very much the tax-free booze. Some people buy tobacco. I always go nowadays for more expensive kind of, stuff. Not the super expensive, but still kind of whiskeys and everything, but you also eat really well. Like the buffet thing is really, really good stuff. You just get yourself bloated while doing that. Which is then again very good when you just embark the cruise, eat well, have a couple of beers, and you're all set to see the bands. Which was, of course, very nice since the lineup was indeed quite diverse. And some of these bands, well, most of them, to be honest, for first-timers for me, I guess only Arcturus was something that I had proper recollections of seeing them live. So wasn't that much of a deal because I only saw like I think last 10-15 minutes of the show, because some interviews in this time Anal Nathrak was just overlapping with the interview. Talking of which, like I said, I usually go for 2 interviews because setting up them is not always very easy, especially when some bands leave when they arrive to Sweden. So you pretty much have like one-way trip to figure out things going on, and if you miss the chance, well, there it is. But this time I was lucky. First of all, we had Vortex, the vocalist from Arcturus, to have about 15-20 minutes talk with me about what Arcturus is and what kind of stuff they do and how the things have been so far. Then we did a quite super lengthy interview with Anal Nathrak. I think it lasted for almost an hour, at least 50 plus minutes if I recall correctly, and about almost 30 minutes with Monogram, 2 nice guys from the band. I mean, all of them are nice, don't get me wrong. Just pointing out that one guy, the vocalist from Arcturus, and Anal Nathrak, and then vocalist, bass player, or plus drummer from Monogram. So all very different bands, in terms of music and background, obviously. Different bands coming from different countries playing different kind of music. But in my opinion, it was really, really nice for me to get the chance to pick their brains and talk about their careers and, mindsets and all related to metal, but not definitely limited to that. Now, seeing these bands live, getting the possibility to talk to them and enjoying the general environment with good food, good friends, good drinks and all that stuff was really, really nice. And we actually celebrated Rauta's 20,000 subscriber base, which we already reached in December, I think. But this was the first time we actually got together with the camera people. And we were just celebrating and working our asses off. So I'm really, really happy as the result. Now, who I would recommend these kind of cruises in the future as well. Basically anybody who wants to see bands live and who wants to, just take off that 22 hours or so, offshore and, enjoy good times with metalheads. Like I said, this wasn't just limited to seeing bands. Like, for example, if you went to the so-called rock bar, the Rockmore bar, you could just enjoy drinks there, or alternatively like this heavy metal bar piano who has been there at least a few times now, was playing some metal covers. Not everybody's cup of tea, but at least it's better than metal karaoke, which also took place, but I just don't like karaoke. One of the better surprises was this burlesque show where you just witnessed interesting but also somewhat erotic shows with these burlesque stars doing their performances. Very, very cool and something totally different. And of course, if you wanted to take a tattoo, there was this tattoo artist, Ville Paakari, doing his job. And we did a couple of Martti videos, which is, then again, one of which is related to Kölinalle, co-starring in a video. And when I mentioned the Stereo Terror DJ couple, well, they performed quite metallic take on, danceable music, which divided people into 2. Those who wanted to escape and go for drinks and those who wanted to dance. You can pretty much guess how gender divided thing that was. But that goes beyond the scope of this one. So, next year again, I think we will have Nordic Metal Cruise with year 2026, and if I'm not mistaken, this was already sold out, which was of course cool, because it then again paves way for more cruises happening, more people embarking and all that stuff. I know it's now way too early to talk about next year because we don't know for sure what's going to happen, but looking forward to that trip once again, and I hope to see familiar faces there as well. Now, in the end, we did a little bit of a few minutes walking through kind of a thing from the ship. This time we kept it shorter than the previous years because it makes no point to do every year the same kind of a walkthrough, walk around and to show the ship with the tax-free shopping, the bars and blah blah blah. But we did ask a little bit of a few questions here and there about, you know, how people enjoyed the cruise, what they were doing and so forth. It probably doesn't make you a lot of sense, but at least you get to see how it was, how it sounded, how it looked, whatever. You're just missing the smell and the booze, obviously. Anyway, just take a look at it if you want to. After this part, I'm finished now. So hope to see you on these cruises somewhere in the future. Take care. Stay metal. Welcome to Nordic Metal Cruise 2025. Here we are having a little bit of a recap of sorts. So let's see what we have here around the area. I'm holding a little bit of this mic, so hopefully something makes sense when I'm showing you the rounds. We cannot pester some people and ask them, like, why are you here and all that shit. Let's see what the people this year tell us. Like, what are the bands they're looking for, and all the peculiar faces here. Already some familiar faces. Madam, can we ask you a question about this cruise?
Yes.
What are your favorite bands this time?
I think Ananakrat was yesterday. Good. Yes.
What else?
We are going to see Wormwood soon, so maybe that one.
All right. How many times you been on these cruises?
Every time, so 8 times.
Crazy, crazy. All right, have a good evening, ladies. We move on. So as you can see, regular visitors, we're not the only ones coming here basically every fucking time. And why do we keep doing this is, well, these are goddamn good parties. Always good bands and, you know, interesting people to say the least. Let's see who else we have here. First of all, this is a little bit... Madam, can we ask you a couple of things about the cruise? Because you just hosted this beautiful burlesque show.
Yes, I did.
So, how many times you been hosting this show?
You mean on a course?
Yep.
Course. This is my first time here.
First time here?
Yeah.
How was it?
Believe it? It was really nice, actually. The crowd, though, well, maybe they were a bit asleep because, you know, maybe they had a rough night. But let's see. If the part 2 would be more louder. I like yelling a lot.
You want to give some shout out some of your favorite burlesque stars?
Shout out my favorite burlesque stars.
From Finland?
From Finland? Well, there are many. I'm kind of like a polyamory thing in that subject. But I would say that I really admire, for example, Lut Vendeman. He's actually here today in our next show.
Next show, we have to make hurry. Thank you so much for your time, and we will look forward to seeing more interesting shows and beautiful human beings.
Absolutely.
Have a good rest of the cruise and all.
Thank you.
So as you can see, it's not just pure metal, even though technically speaking that's more or less our excuse to be here. Let's move on and see what there is outside the show area. For example, there are tattoo artists doing their job and all that stuff, but obviously these hallways, these include a lot of mysterious creatures of the night and all. Cheers. Hey, here we have some guy with a Dimmu Borgir shirt. Yep. Sir, which bands are you here for?
Monogarm, Wormwood, and Skiltron.
In that order?
Yeah.
How many times you been on the cruise?
This is the first time.
Virgin trip. What made you come this time? The bands or just the whole experience?
No, it's everything. Everything. The whole experience. But I live in Stockholm, so I was... what is called going on board this morning.
Yes.
And this is the to see these bands today.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Have a good rest of the cruise.
Yeah, you too.
All right. So, as you can see, it's not just Finnish people coming on board and then seeing some bands. There are always people, various parts of the world. And this time we see some familiar faces. And I just cannot resist asking this. Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Very good.
Have you been enjoying the cruise?
Yes, it's very nice. Anal Natrak. Very good.
The best.
Yes.
What else?
What else?
What else is important on this?
Wormwood. It's going to play in
Soon.
couple of minutes.
Couple of minutes. All right. Have a great cruise and enjoy the show. We'll go pester some more people. All right. As we progress, this will be a short trip. We will just take a look at this rock bar where people usually getting drunk, drinking beer. That's pretty much of it. Hello, madam. Can we ask you a couple of questions? Are you a first timer on this cruise?
Yes, I am.
What have you been enjoying so far, the cruise?
The best part was the massage that I was in.
Really?
Yeah.
What else?
I think that maybe mikäs meillä olisi? Hard one. Mikä tässä nyt olisi ollut parasta?
Drinks? People? Bands?
People, absolutely people, yeah.
Will you be coming back to these cruises later on?
Yes, I will.
All right. Have a good night, ladies. Off we go to see and tease more people. As you can see, hopefully. People doing karaoke. Horrible. Now, personally, I can't stand karaoke, but people when they're drunk, when their favorite heavy metal tracks are being played, they just do those kind of silly things. Now, we're going to conclude the story very soon, but here we find a peculiar sir. Sir, can I pest you for a couple of questions? Have you been enjoying the cruise?
Yes, I have.
You probably came here for some bands.
Yeah.
Got any favorites?
Wormwood.
Well, and why are you here instead of watching it?
Because you're here.
Why are we just stealing time?
Waiting for her.
All right, we'll let the couple go about. Thank you so much and have a good cruise. All right, we're gonna finish the tour by checking out. Morjes. We're gonna finish the tour by taking a look at the band thingy. So this is basically the whole thing. This is why people come here, to see the bands. And since there's way too loud to ask them any random questions, we're gonna just finish here and start drinking beer. So, Rauta out.